Welcome to another edition of Scheffy's Sandbox. Now, this episode may seem very much specific to me, to April, and you might wonder, why am I sharing it? But really, I think this episode is for anyone who's not comfortable with themselves, anyone who doesn't like a certain aspect of themselves, and they keep butting up against it. Or they find themselves constantly trying to reconcile two very different parts of themselves. You may remember from my interview with April Staples, she did a natal chart reading for me, and we discussed that I can feel all the feels of life. I have the capability of feeling very depressed and a lot of the heaviness in life. And at the same time, I think I can also play and see some of the playfulness and the sarcasm and the joke of life. But I wouldn't necessarily call myself a sunshine person. Struggle with the heavy side of life has been something that has only recently felt easier to handle. So I'm just setting the stage for when I had my Akashic Records level 2 course, and this is where we were learning to open up other people's records. You know, for the past year, I've been able to open my own records, and some of that information that's come through I've shared with you, and I have felt that that's been a very beautiful practice for me, and I wanted to be able to help others. And so I signed up for level 2 to be able to open up other people's records and channel answers from God, source, universe, for people who are seeking answers. So this was day 3 of the class, and this is the day that was our first and only day of practice. The first 2 days had been theory and going over the manual, and this time we were paired up twice, once with one person and we switched roles, and then we got paired up with someone else, and we both did readings on each other. And this reading I had with Maria. I think she goes by Parler, so that's how I'll be referring to her today. I was paired up with Pilar, and she already has a history of being an intuitive coach, and she has a fantastic coaching offering already, and I'll be linking that in the show notes. But we only had 15 minutes, and she was opening up my records, and she was taking me through some breath work. And from what I understand, part of her process with the Akashic Records is that before we get to any of the questions, she starts to get a sense of the soul. And so I thought that was really neat. I'm like, okay, sure, let's do that. And I'll tell you, we didn't even get to my questions because it was only 15 minutes. And with the breathing exercise and this opening message with her insight on how my soul was presenting itself to her, we didn't have time, but I didn't care, because this touched on something that I felt was way more important than any of the questions I had written down on my piece of paper. You know how sometimes you don't even know how to ask, or that you should ask, or that it was something to ask about. That's kind of what this was. And so let's get into it. She said that I had a very gentle soul, but with fire in the heart. And the visual she was getting was kind of like a mountain in its strength. Even though she was kind of getting the sense of fire, she was also getting the visual of like a mountain. She said I had contrast in my personality. I'm like, that is so true. Thing is that she shocked me with, she was talking about how this was a wonderful thing. And I'm like, really? I'm thinking that in my head, right? Oh, really? Try living with it. She said it's a wonderful thing, but she acknowledged it can be hard because of the contrast. Like two faces of a coin, there can be something of a shock value, what's on one side and what's on the other, but it's all part of the same coin. It's part of who I am. She likened me to a superwoman with superpowers. Okay, so this is far from the part I had given myself to play of someone with crippling disabilities. Like this, I had not seen this as a superpower, being able to feel life so deeply and this huge contrast within myself. So I was shocked and loving it because, again, having seen this as a weakness or a character flaw for for 40 years, this was a rather of a relief. She went on to explain that this duality, by choosing this duality, I chose an incarnation of what the universe itself is. The universe has polarity. There's negative, there's positive, there's darkness and the light. And you don't want to be only light. There's not just rainbows and unicorns and butterflies, because yes, unicorns are real. You just have to ask my daughter, she'll tell you. She said that she could sense I had all this love. And on the flip side, I had a lot of fight, like this desire and fire to want to achieve. She said it was amazing and she called it a gift. She went back to the duality. She felt like my soul was gentle, like ocean waves, and I had a pure heart. And that was paired with fire, me wanting to say what I think, me wanting to stand up for myself. So what she encouraged me to do is to simply be mindful, to observe, to let myself be mad, angry, excited, joyful, to say, April, you are feeling very annoyed. Or April, you are feeling really happy about this. She said to serve that duality, that polarity in me, because it's beautiful. She said, if I'm feeling happy, to let myself jump for joy. She said for me to not see that inner darkness, that heaviness, as wrong, in quotation marks, not wrong, not something I'm supposed to get rid of, or it's not a character flaw that I constantly need to try and get rid of, but I need to see it as night, in that by the contrast that night provides, you can see the stars. So there is beauty that you wouldn't see if it were not for the contrast of the night. And I will tell you, I thought that was so beautiful. Just having permission to be myself after 40 years, it was pretty freeing and I loved it. I'm not saying that it's easy to live with someone like myself. As she acknowledged, it's not easy to be me. I'm having to live in this skin and feel the lightness and the heaviness, and feel what it is to be gentle and receiving and loving, but at the same time try and reconcile that with the fact that I have a very fiery personality, and sometimes it doesn't pair up seamlessly. You know what I'm saying? So I just really, really appreciated that. What brought to mind during that short session I had with her was something I had read years earlier when I went to a website called primalastrology.com, and I'll link that in the show notes. But basically what it does, it tells you what your spirit animal is based on a combination of Western astrology, the zodiac, with the Chinese zodiac. So me having been born under the sign of Cancer, my sun sign's Cancer in Western astrology, and in the Chinese astrology, I was born in the year of the rooster. That makes me, dun dun dun, the iguana. And so you can read even more about the iguana and your sign. I hope you do check it out. I looked up the primal astrology years ago for both my daughter and my partner. Spot on. Just like the iguana is spot on for me. It's like, ooh, I am really seen here. And that can be uncomfortable and beautiful all at the same time. So I'll just share some of it. But again, go to primalastrology.com and see if you feel like yours fits. But the writer says, I have heard that it's not uncommon among pet owners to think that their pet iguana hates them. Like their animal namesake, those born under the primal zodiac sign of iguana are equally hard to read. Chances are they don't hate you at all. They are simply expressing their feelings without concern for the effect it has on others. That's actually the easy thing about iguanas. They will let you know exactly what's on their mind at any given moment. This trait also causes the most problems for them, go figure, as they can easily offend others without trying. It may not even realize the negative effect they can have on those around them if they don't learn to keep themselves in check. Yes, iguanas are moody. They are also highly skeptical and don't trust most things they hear right away. But that's because they are also highly intuitive and have learned to follow their instincts over what they are told. They regularly let this intuition guide them, as well they should. Though they are typically smart, iguanas will fare better in most of life's challenges if they trust their gut over their thoughts. You guys know that's been a journey for me in that area too. Okay, continuing on. And this, I'm going to end with this paragraph. This is probably the most succinct paragraph about myself. So here it is. Members of this sign care a lot about how others perceive them, which makes it hard to understand how they can blurt out insults without realizing their impact. And here we go into the contrast of polarity. Well-intentioned, yet blunt, stoic, yet overly emotional, stylish, yet simple. This is indeed a sign of contradictions. In life, iguanas should learn to accept things as they are and not let their emotions get in the way of their intuitions. If they can calm down and find a balance in life, they have every chance at happiness. So maybe that doesn't mean anything to you, but that last bit, they have every chance at happiness, is that silver lining. Sorry. They have every chance at happiness. And if you listen back to my podcast episode where I get the Akashic record reading with Lorena, and then it gets followed up with a solar return reading from, oh gosh, this is so embarrassing at the moment. I can't remember, but you had that solar return chart reading, and they don't know each other. And I don't think that they listen to the podcast. They wouldn't know, but I'm hearing the theme of balance over and over again. And yeah, I am taking that to heart. So Pilar followed it up with a message in my Instagram box later. She said, "Dear April, it was an honor to open your records, and I hope this is okay. I am reaching out and sending this message. I am not sure where this message is coming from, me or the records, but it is very strong. Open the chakra of your throat. Express what you need to express. Sing, 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 dance, express your truth. Your soul is brave. Your soul is brave for choosing that configuration of polarity. It's the pure essence of all creation. Embrace it and love it because you are a gift to the world and we all can learn from you. Thank you for letting me see that. It's really an honor." Well, Pilar, thank you. And I'm not sure why I'm getting emotional. Maybe it's just reading the part about the iguana being overly emotional. Maybe it's just like, okay, cue the waterworks. I'm not sure what's going on. But anyway, I figured that it has been a long time since I've been putting out podcasts regularly. I am slowly feeling the motivation and the inspiration creep back in to do these podcasts. And since I'm feeling it, I'm going to do it. I've written out a list of possible topics. So I am really excited to be back on the microphone. And I hope this turns into a two-way conversation because, like it says, I really do care what people think. I guess I need a drink of water. I really do care what people think. And so feeling like this is a relationship, it really does help keep me motivated and inspired. So if you want to send me an email, or I guess you could go onto the Anchor app and it has an option there where you can send me a voice message. I'd love for you to send me something that I can add to, I can start adding like listener mail to the podcast. I think that would be really cool. So anyway, for now, that's it. I love you guys and I will talk at you soon. Bye. All right, quick note. As I mentioned in the podcast, I did my level 2 Akashic Record class with a group of people. And so if you have been wanting to get an Akashic Records reading free or at least discounted, now is probably your time because I and my classmates have been assigned homework. So we have to practice, practice, practice. We are able to kind of rearrange it as we wanted, but at least the first 15 readings needed to be offered free. And then we could start to slowly charge from there. So please reach out to me so we can schedule an Akashic Records reading together for me to be able to practice and get better and better at this. I have a link in the show notes for you to click and schedule some time with me. If you want to schedule a time with any of my classmates, shoot, hit me up and I will give you their contact information as well. So you can ask me a couple questions. You'll have time to ask a couple questions to someone else and someone else. So we be helping each other. You help us by providing us practice. And I believe, the universe could step in and give you some precious information that you might need as well. All right. Thank you.